Greetings, darling. Naima Singletary here with the power to lead, bringing, revolutionizing. I just realized there's a lot that I just know. It's like a fish in water. And I forget that it must be translated so other people can get it. It's so a part of me and in me, and it just is, that sometimes I don't even think about the translation part. I just go and I expect that those who are supposed to get it will get it. And God has told me that, Naima, people know, but sometimes you have to speak it in a way that they get it. Like, it's a kind of like bringing the language down, and it's not like dumbing it down. It's when a person is just waking up to a thing or just admitting a kind of power, it can be really, striking to, bring it like in pure form. And so it's important that I state the thing as clearly and like here as I can. So what I am doing, but I have not stated, that I will state now, is that I'm revolutionizing the identities of melanin messengers. I knew this, but I was informed that now it needs to be, or that, remember, because need is a no-no. This needs to be reassessed. I'm sorry. I feel myself going off on a tangent. But that whole, there's certain things that, have a place of need. Anyway, so that's another conversation. So in the work that I'm doing and the folks who are supporting me in doing this work, we are revolutionizing the identities of melanin messengers, helping them step into their power like never before by first showing them the path to securing 5-figure clients. Voila. Okay? And it's big. I mean, I'm here every weekday and it's still more, right? I'm here on the Power to Lead every weekday and there's still more. Okay, so the topic for today is the $100,000 client. Like, clearly this, right? There needs to be a workshop, right? I expect for there to be questions. I expect that, right? The 100K client. So I want to share a story with you. For those of you who don't know me, I am, like I said, here 5 days a week, 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Paris time. I'm a spiritual business advisor. I am a renegade. I'm a descendant of the ruling class. I'm an anomaly. Don't try to figure me out. Respect me, I respect you. I'm in this world, not of it. There's difficult work that I'm made to do, and I have given my life over to doing that. And so I'm not governed by a lot of the rules that other people govern themselves by. I'm not interested or involved in a lot of what is dominant in the world and popular in the world. It doesn't move me. And I'm weird in a really spectacular way. So I just say all that just to sort of, like, that's my kind of disclaimer, like, right? So the $100,000 client, what does that even mean? So I went to, the story always, I was at and it's true. I was at I've talked about this conference before because this conference affected me in so many different ways. Fuck A. Thank you. So I was at this conference, the one that I've talked about in Florida. It's like, bring this down some, right? Ooh. I just hitting the button. How about the conference? Sorry. So I think last week I talked about this conference I was at that really changed my life. Wow. Okay. This woman, the woman who was facilitating the conference, got up in front of everybody and said, each and every one of you could decide that. Why is my screen doing that? She said, each and every one of you could decide that you're going to work with one client for the year for $100,000, but none of you are going to do it because you don't believe you can do it. I'm going to repeat that. This is like 350 women in this audience, right? We've all paid $1,000 or more to be there. Entrepreneurs. And she got up in front of us and said, each and every one of you could choose to work with one client for the whole year for $100,000, because you know the claim to fame has always been six figures, six figures. I'm successful and accomplished if I do six figures. So she was coming from the six figures perspective. So she said, each and every one of you could decide that you're going to work with one client for the whole year and charge them $100,000, but you're not going to do it because you don't believe you can do it. Now, she said this, and I was pissed. I was pissed. You know why I was pissed? Because I knew she was right. Because as soon as she said that, I was like, $100,000? Who does that? Who's going to even pay for that? Like, what do you do for $100,000? Like, is that right? The brain just went into the mind fuck of my, at the time, extremely limited, low wealth consciousness, scarcity-based thinking. Why is my screen doing this? It keeps acting like it's gonna go blank, but I see my timer is going. That's odd. That's the first time. And then I feel like I got all this space up here, which is annoying. So I could turn the camera. Let's see. Am I messing it up? Nope. Okay, so it's telling me I can't do that. It says orientation is locked. And so I was very, I remember being extremely pissed about that. And at the time, the highest I had gotten was $10,000 as far as my fees, as far as what I was charging to work with me. And I wanted to charge more because I knew that the work that I was doing was at that level, and that I was even stepping into, it wasn't even just at that level. I knew I was stepping into something greater. And I was upset that I was trapped, that I was, at the time I felt like I was in this way of thinking and being that was not going to get me to where I wanted to go. I feel so distracted and ungrounded right now. So, give me a minute, please. I had a real shaky, getting here this morning, and I didn't, ground myself before I hit the button to be here with you, so it's important to do that. Okay. So when she said it, I knew it wasn't about the $100,000. Like, of course, yes, $100,000, great, fabulous, whoa, awesome, yay, right? But I could feel the frequency of it. I could really feel it wasn't just about the $100,000. It was about the thinking. It was about the way of being. It was about the expansiveness. It was about the capacity to even be with that frequency without attaching a bunch of meaning to it, without bringing all this drama to it, without making it be, all that. I knew that it was something much bigger, something much higher, even though I had never done it before. This is what I want to get at in today's show. And this is what I'm getting at, okay? This is what I'm getting at, and have been getting at since I first came into the industry. This woman asked me, a Melanin Messenger, a couple weeks ago, Naima, what happened? Because you were doing that, and then you were doing that, and then you were doing that. as if none of them have anything to do with each other. And I said to her, I said, if you look at just the surface of what I'm doing, it looks like different things. I said, but underneath, it's all about power. Like when I first came like a force, not like a force. I came as a force with heal, sex, shame. That was it. Heal, sex, shame, heal, sex, shame, heal, sex, shame, heal, sex, shame. And that's all about healing sexual trauma, but it's to get down into the power of oneself, to reclaim power, to restore power, to come back to health so that one can then go off and live the life that they want to live. Then it came into opulent living. Opulent living was about stepping into power with money. Power, 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 power. I love the Facebook memories. You know, it shows you things you posted 8 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago. And when I look at things I was posting 3 years ago, 7 years ago, a year ago, it's all about power. Whether I'm in this country or that country, whether I was talking about healing sexual trauma or opulent living or pussy money or what, it was all about stepping into power, reclaiming power, the truth of who you are, and then going out and doing the damn thing that you were born to do. So this $100,000 client, you securing $100,000 clients, someone investing $100,000 to work with you. First of all, I'm delighted as I feel into this because the woman that you become in the process, and so many don't make it through. It's hard. Like all of your, I remember the first time I got $100,000, it wasn't in a lump sum. It was, and most people are not going to pay you most people are not going to transfer $100,000 to you, particularly when you're in your first, you know, it really depends on your evolution and the speed at which you move and your willingness and all that. But most people are not going to pay you just like transfer $100,000 to you in one lump sum. It's probably going to be in some kind of payments because of where you are. The first time I got $100,000, it was in increments, and it ended up being $100,000 over a year and a half, something like that. And so I saw it differently because it was just like $10,000 here, $30,000 here, $20,000, right? And so I felt it at that frequency of like, ooh, right? And this is when I was stepping into my power, more and more money. But I remember the first time that I sold a package at $100,000 level. So that was the difference, right? The first time it was like, oh, I sold this $10,000 package. Then she enrolled in a new package, right? So it was a different frequency. This time, when I sold an actual $100,000 package, it was the easiest. Well, I had easy before too, but it was something about it that was clean. It was so matter of fact. It was so clear. It was so, this is what it is. Before I got to that though, everything in between, working up to that, was working through the whole, well, people think I'm greedy. The things that happen in the consciousness, like I was talking to a woman the other day who said she just wants to black out when she starts talking about money. Another Melanin Messenger. She said her stomach starts to burn. She just wants to black out. Like I've experienced, like wanting to throw up. I've experienced that. I've been at conferences and the person on the stage is selling a package and it's like, I think it was like 10 I can't remember, but it was some number that at the time was big for me. And I remember feeling nauseous. And I remember the woman who was selling the package specifically said, and I thought, oh my God, she totally gets it. When she said this to the audience, she was like, I know, like I think she offered it before we went to lunch. So it was like, okay, sign up, take it to the bag, etc. And then we came back from lunch and then she made mention of it again. And she said something like, I know some of you needed to go in your room and throw up. You know, it was like that awareness. She had that awareness that when people are stepping into power with money, the body and the mind has all these reactions. And typically, like if you're alone, good luck, right? The fight is harder. Like you can still push through alone, but my God, right? And I remember the first time I paid a measly $1,000 for a virtual program. This was in 2011. 2011. I paid $1,000. And I remember it was like the countdown. I'm like, okay, you have 3 days left and the cart closes. 2 days left and the cart. And I remember it was supposed to close at midnight that night. And I was literally on the couch in a fetal position crying about paying this $1,000. On the couch in a fetal position in 2011, crying about, I knew I had to do it, but just doing it, I was having, so the space, this is what I mean about the woman you become, the space between who you are, whether it's $100,000 or $50,000, like whatever your stretch is, right? That is the work. That's what we're doing. You know what I want to share with you? It's some of the things that it's going to take for you, like the what do you do in between? First of all, you got to start this is a muscle. So just like if you want to get your abs in order, what do? You watch what you eat and you start doing ab work, right? You want to get those calves and those biceps in order. What do you start doing? You start doing them bell curves. You start doing your push-ups. You start doing your leg lifts and get them glutes together, get that butt, right? It's the same thing when you're working on your money mind. The difference between who you are today and the person that you're going to be when you're unrecognizable to yourself is the work that you're going to do, the workouts that you're going to do in between. There's no magic. Magic is involved for sure, but there's no like secret thing that you can't do. Everything that it takes for you to get to $100,000 clients, anybody can do. It's not like reserved for some species over there. So, lifestyle. One of the things, and I want to give thanks to the mentors who have been in my life, who have imparted this knowledge to me that I can impart to you. And then there are things that I cultivated on my own path that are signature to me that I like to share. But one of the things that helps, and I share this with everybody, is everybody has the things that they love that they would spend money on if they had the money, right? And the money is always available. If it's a genuine desire, the money is available. It's just you getting your perspective in order to be able to call in the way, to be able to notice an opportunity and not thwart it, and right? That's part of the magic that I'm talking about, what I just said. You should have caught that. However, when you're working toward your first whatever, $10,000, $20,000 client, and there's a certain thing that you know you would spend the money on as if... Okay, you know that when you get your first $20,000 client, you're going to Paris, right? That's your plan, right? Or whatever the thing is, fill in the blank. You know you're going to remodel your kitchen. You know you're going to take your mom on a great trip. You know you're going to hire this fabulous person. You know, whatever the thing is, right? Put yourself in the frequency of that thing. So what I did, I remember at the time, I love five-star hotels. I love five-star experiences. I love bars and drink, like I'm not drinking for a year, but I love going to beautiful chic bars and having beautiful delicious cocktails, and that was one of my things. And so what I would do when I was working on cultivating my finance muscle is I would go to certain hotels. I can't think of, where was I at the time? Miami. So I would go to different places. There was this one at the Intercontinental, they had a cool bar, but just bars that were of a higher caliber, and buy my, what I would call expensive drink at the time, and take it in. Really take in the environment, drink, sip slow, really drink slow, right? Really take it in, have conversation with the bartender. Imagine myself there having a meal. Imagine myself there at the hotel, staying at the hotel. Imagine myself being greeted. Imagine myself having my luggage taken up to the room. Imagine myself walking around, enjoying the space, being really comfortable, right? I would also go and look at pictures of the places that I planned to go. You know, Saint Tropez was big on my list at the time. Like that was my, I can't afford it trip for a long time. Like that was the place that I was just like, I would just fall all over myself at just the thought of going there. And when I finally stopped telling myself the story of I can't afford it and allowed myself to really drool, it changed, like shit changed. Like, and that's what I mean. Like the woman you become is like having the door closed and then deciding to open it so then you can then start calling in. So you do that for yourself, whatever the thing is, music that helps stimulate, pictures that help stimulate, places you can physically go to that stimulate. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do is start reading wealth consciousness books. Now, I know a book only takes you so far. I'm aware of this. And there are so many things that work. There are so many things that work. You got to find what works for you. Wealth consciousness books helps to spark dormant magic. All of us are made of magic. The books that I'm talking about help to really spark, not only do they have nuggets that spark the magic within you, but when you come to it with a new mind, because there's one book that I mentioned that people are like, oh yeah, I heard of that book, or I have that book, or I read that book. But see, when you come to a thing with a certain intention, you get a different outlook. Like if you're reading it because, you know, it's popular and somebody told you to read it and you feel like you need to be reading and all that, you get a different result. But if you show up to it with, I am revolutionizing my relationship with money, I am transforming the way I step into my power, the way I am, who I like, then you come to it with a different intention, a different mind. And so your output is different. What you get from it is different. So when you go read these books now, go to it with the mind that you're revolutionizing your relationship with money, right? So the 100K is, yes, you get the 100K, but it's mostly about who you become, the drama that you release in the process. Gosh, there is so much drama around money that, like, it's not even yours. It's not even mine. When you start to really assess your ideas about money and like, where did I get this idea? Like, where did I get the idea that this costs too much? Or this costs too little? Where did that idea come from? Is it based on comparison to something else? Is because somebody told you that? Is it like, or do you really believe that? Like, we got to get this. And then people telling you their ideas about money. Hi, mama. Look at the baby. That Queenie. Look at that Queenie. Look at that Queenie, mama. You know, is it somebody gave you their ideas about money and then you decided to make it true? Your parents always told you, you know, like me on the sales rack. I've talked about this, you know, for a long time about when I was really stepping into my power with money. I realized how it was just normal for me to shop on the sales rack. And I didn't even know that. Like you walk in this beautiful store where there's all this beautiful merchandise and the first place you go is to the sale rack. Consciousness, wealth consciousness. And, you know, that's how the household I was raised up in. And it's not that my mother was cheap. It's just that she had her ideas about what she would spend on the kids and or what she considered valuable. And we had different ideas about what was valuable. So you got to look at, did your mom tell you this? Did your dad teach you this? Did your grandma teach you this about money? Is that really your belief about money? Hi, mama. She mama. Queenie, sweetie mama. Queenie mama. And really getting clear about what are your money values. Maybe you're totally cool with spending $2,000 on a first class ticket, but your mom would be like, that is too expensive, right? Maybe you're totally okay investing $100,000 in your growth, while somebody else would say, girl, you have been bamboozled. Says who, right? So a lot of this work, and I'm going to give you these 2 books. There's actually 3. As you start to do this work, you will see that it's who you become in the process of doing the work, okay? So the $100,000 client is a mindset. Not only is a mindset, we always say that, but it is managing the mind, but it's also a way of being. It's a way of being, darling, and cleaning yourself out of all the stuff that you've inherited from other people and replacing it with what is true for you. So the books. First one, and you've probably heard of this book before, but come to it with the mind that I told you to come with it. The mind that you're revolutionizing your relationship with money. The name of the book is Think and Grow Rich. The second book is The Science of Getting Rich. And the third book is Sacred Success, A Course in Financial Miracles. I think you should start there. But go look at the books and see where your spirit calls you. But Sacred Success, A Course in Financial Miracles is awesome. Then maybe go to The Science of Getting Rich. There's a lot of practicality in there, and there's also some magic in there. And there's magic in all of them. They're all really, really great books. So go to them with the intent to revolutionize your relationship with money and step into power like never before with money. And that concludes today's show. Yeah! So I look forward to being back here with you tomorrow. I will be much more grounded. I will be much more mindful of who I am being and the state of my energy before I hit go live on tomorrow's show. Look at that, Queenie. And I might be doing tomorrow's show from the gym. So lots of love.